Hey friends, it is Kate here. Thank you so much for joining me for a class today. Now I have got kind of an advanced class for us today. This is a nice flow class. I'm going to call this a practice with me because this is honestly a nice flow that I would do for myself. It's all about opening up our hips, kind of building strength through our whole body. So if you feel like stretching through your hips, if you feel like strengthening your arms, your glutes, your tummy muscles, this is a good one for you. Again, it is a little bit more advanced than I normally put out on here, so for all of my friends that are maybe not at that level, know you can always do as much as little of class as you want to, and I am proud of you no matter what. So roll out your mat and let's get started. Let's start standing wherever feels best for you. Feet can be hip distance, they could be a little wider if you're in the mood for that, but go ahead and just come towards the top of your mat, roll the shoulders back and lift the head a little higher. Almost envision me standing next to you, lifting your waist out of your hips so your spine can grow as long and straight as possible. Take a big sweeping inhale, lifting your hands high. Exhale, flip the palms, press them down. This time, inhale, sweep the hands forward. Exhale, push them behind you. Inhale, take the hands backwards. Exhale, bring them down in front of you. One more time, both hands lift straight over the head. Clasp the hands together, open the elbows wide, a soft bend in the knees. Just take a moment here and let's find a little standing cat and cow, just moving through your body however feels best to you. Maybe that's a little bigger or smaller than mine. Maybe you're a little faster or slower. Eventually come back center. Keep the knees lightly bent, soften the shoulders down the back, press your elbows behind you to open up across your chest. Think about a belt around the small of your waist, getting one notch tighter, drawing the ribs in, big inhale. Keep the knees and hips pointing forward, exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, pull yourself center. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, pull yourself center. Exhale, relax the hands, let the head lift and straighten the legs. Big breath, chin to chest, bend the knees, let your fingertips be super heavy and roll into an easy forward fold. Just soften. Imagine your head kind of pouring down towards the ground. Take a little sway of the hips. Pause, bend both knees a little deeper, take your hands to shins and physically push yourself out and away. Broaden across the chest, pull your low belly up and in. And then from here, big deep breath, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. One more time, half lift, pause. I want you to bring your hands to the top of your right thigh above the knee and straighten the right leg, maybe bending the left leg a little bit deeper. Oh, that feels like a great big stretch to me today. I imagine someone kind of hooking their thumb into my hip and pulling my hip back. Big breath. Let that go, drop into an easy forward fold. Hands to shins, inhale, half lift. Broaden tummy in. And then take the hands to the opposite thigh. For me, that's my left. If you did the other side, no biggie, but press the hip back. Think again, someone tacked their thumb into your little hip and they're pulling your hip back. Maybe even lightly lifting your sitting bones up to the sky. Take a big inhale. Let that go. Forward fold. Sway the hips a little side to side. I'm going to turn this way so you can see me a little bit better, but I want us to heel toe our feet pretty wide, wider than the hips, and start with your feet parallel, so toes pointing forward. From here, all I want us to do is great big bend in the knee, and then a lift of your sitting bones up. We're just waking up our body. Bend the knees, and then straighten. Now, I'm kind of looking up so I can talk to you a little bit better, but I really do want your head to fall towards the ground here. I guess I can soften mine down too. Last time, bend, pause, and I want you to push your hips side to side. Just a little sway. Come back center, heel toe the feet so they're underneath your hips once more. Bend the knees, roll yourself all the way up to standing. Big inhale, hands lift high. Exhale, flip the palms, press them down. Again, chin to chest, bend the knees, roll yourself all the way down. Again, heel toe your feet nice and wide, and this time will be lightly turned out. So toes pointing away from the body, and then again, great big bend and straighten of the legs. Nothing too big, nothing too crazy, just whatever feels most natural, whatever feels most nice. And again, pause in that little bend and rock and sway the hips a little side to side. Pause center, heel toe the feet back towards one another. And once they're underneath your hips, roll yourself all the way up to standing. I'm going to turn back more the normal way on the mat. And then we're going to take our hands, great big high stretch. Exhale, go ahead, come all the way down and step your left foot back in a great big lunge. Now, holding here in our lunge for a moment, I want you to think about pressing your left heel towards the ground behind you, growing longer through the back of the body and reaching your head a little bit further forward. Maybe sway gently side to side, maybe rock gently forward and back. And then take a pause, set the back knee down. I personally like to untuck my toe. That feels better in my knee. And then again, a little sway side to side. Maybe a rock forward and back. You can't move a whole lot there without sending the hips back, but that's okay. And then from here, go ahead and tip back into a child's pose, knees together or apart. Curl your fingers a little bit further away. Let the head be heavy. Let it sink onto the floor. Press your hips closer towards your heels. Think about growing long from your sitting bone through the spine out the top of the head, and then unfold into a downward facing dog. Knees can be bent. It's not about the legs right now. It's about your spine. Sway the head a little. Pedal the feet if you want to. And then look to the top of the mat, crawl your way forward. Bend the knees, roll yourself up. Big inhale, hands lift high. Exhale, drop down. Set your right foot back for our lunge to the opposite side. If you need to adjust at all, go right ahead. That's always okay. Like we did on the other side, if we want to rock a little side to side or forward and back, you go right ahead. When you feel ready, think belly button in as you set the knee down. Again, I like to tuck my toe. That's how I keep pressure off my knee, but you can always adjust. Maybe give a little wiggle and sway side to side. Oh, that side's particularly tight for me. It feels good to go real slow right there. The nice thing for you is you can make all the faces when you do great big stretching and no one can see them. You guys get to enjoy the crazy faces I make sometimes. No hurry, no rush. When you feel ready, tip back into your child's pose. Again, knees together or apart. For me, knees together feels great right now because I'm more concentrating on lengthening through and kind of opening up my low back. And then unfold into your downward dog again. Maybe knees are straight this time, maybe they're still bent. Think of hugging your inner arms towards your ears and pushing your sitting bones up, 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 up to the sky. Take a great big inhale. Big deep breath out. 3 times I want you to wave forward, find your plank pose. Exhale, return to your dog. Wave forward, find your plank pose. Exhale, find your dog. Last one, wave forward, plank pose, pause. Think about toning your inner thighs together, cinching the waist, but still opening up across your chest. Take a great, big, full inhale. Push back into your dog. Look to the top of the mat, crawl your way forward, or if you want to jump, you could always shake it up that way. Hands to shins, inhale, half lift. Let it go. Bend the knees, roll yourself up, stand tall, both hands lift so high. Lower the hands, step your left foot back, find your lunge again. Now, once we arrive in this lunge, this time, think about pulling your inner thighs towards one another, really sending your right knee forward while you reach the left heel back. Take a great big pause. If we can, maybe 3 times, straighten and rebend the knee. Now, if you do not straighten all the way, that is okay. No big deal at all. Just find whatever mobility works for your body. Sometimes I like to straighten, pause, and maybe spiral the heel lightly down. If that does not feel good in your ankle, that's okay. But I'm still thinking of hugging my inner arms towards one another and maybe start to reach your head a little bit further away. If we're kind of hunched over, that's okay, not the end of the world. Take a breath. Slowly return all the way down, set the knee back onto the earth once more, and find your Anjanayasana lunge. Press your your pubic bone a little bit further forward. The front of your pelvis is like reaching towards your heel. And a couple of times we can send ourselves back and forward, just like we did a moment ago. That might be too much for us today. That's okay. No worries. And then eventually reach the hips back, pause, and find your child's pose. Enjoy that great big child's pose. Maybe crawl the fingertips a wee bit further forward. Unfold into your downward facing dog. Hips high, tummy in, inner arms hugging towards ears. Again, 3 times, wave to your plank. Exhale to return dog. Inhale, wave to your plank. Exhale, return dog. Last one, plank pose, pause, shoulders broad, tummy in. If we so choose, 3 Pilates push-ups. If we want to skip it, that's okay. Remember, when we do Pilates push-ups, our arms hug into our sides. We use our inhale to go down and our exhale to push up. Return to your downward facing dog. Big deep inhale through the nose. Easy sigh out the mouth. Look to the top of the mat. Crawl, hop, travel forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, let it go. Bend the knees, roll yourself up. Take your big stretch up nice and high. Dive forward, step your right foot back in your lunge. And again, we can hold here for a minute, but as you feel ready, think of pulling your inner thighs towards one another, broadening across the chest, and reaching the top of the head nice and far forward. A couple of times, send the hips back and bring them forward. And again, if we do not straighten the leg all the way, that is perfectly fine. If you happen to have blocks, I realize I didn't say it on the first side, but if you have blocks, is a great place to use them. You can lift yourself up a little bit. But if you want to straighten, square the hips a little bit more, maybe set the back heel down. I'm still thinking of pulling my inner thighs towards one another, creating a lift between my inner thighs, and maybe reaching my head a little bit more towards the front edge of the mat while I broaden across the chest and find as long of a back as I can. No hurry, no rush, big breath. Rebend the knee, set your knee down, find your Anjanayasana. We can pause here. Maybe it feels really good just to stay in this Anjanayasana, almost trying to flatten out the front of your right hip, that kind of pocket area. Or again, we can tip forward and back into our half monkey, just enjoying that lovely mobility. And then eventually, child's pose once more. Hips back. Fingertips reach nice and far away. Find your downward facing dog. 3 times, find your plank. Exhale, dog. Find your plank. Exhale, dog. Last one, plank, pause. Shoulders wide, belly button in. 3 times, push away from the floor. Inhale, down, exhale, push away. Last one, down, exhale, push away. Take a breath. Return to your dog. Full, big, deep inhale. Great big sigh out. Swim your right leg up to the sky, heel up, toes down. Not about how high the leg is lifted. In fact, it could be lower and that's totally fine. But from here 3 times, I want you to wave into your plank, pull your elbow to your, pull your knee to your same elbow, push your foot back. Pull your knee to same elbow, push your foot back. Last one, pull your knee to same elbow, pause, step the foot on the outside edge of your hand. If you need to adjust because you had really wide hands like I just did there, that's okay. Now, just like we did in our Anjanayasana, I'm thinking about pressing my pubic bone lightly forward, getting that stretch to the front of my thigh, or my inner thigh a little bit. We can hold here, or you might want to drop the knee. Enjoying that great big Anjanayasana. Oh, this is not an Anjanayasana, but that's okay. Our lizard pose. Give it a little sway, a little shake. Any movement that feels good. And then from here, we're going to tuck our toe, lift, and pause. Take a big breath. This is a big one. If we can't do it, it's okay. I want to see if you can press into the ground so much. We hug our arm into our side. Can you pick up and then return to your 3-legged dog? Set the foot down. Swim your opposite foot high, heel up, toes down, belly button up and in. Big inhale. Exhale, knee to same elbow. Inhale, push it away. Exhale, knee to same elbow. Inhale, push it away. Last one, knee to same elbow. Pause. Set the foot down, beginning to find your lizard pose. Does it feel better to keep yourself upright, or do you want to set the knee down? Maybe taking a little sway, finding some mobility. I know a lot of times we think that in our yoga classes we have to be totally still in a pose that we find and just breathe into it, but a lot of times our body is craving mobility. Allow yourself to move, to explore. I usually find some of my biggest, best stretches in my own body when I give myself that freedom. No hurry, no rush. Now comes the fun part. Tuck your toe, lift your knee, turn on the leg so much. For me, the more I hug my knee into my arm, push my arm back into my left leg, and then I really tone my tummy, cinching the waist, and lift my foot up, and then I can return to my 3-legged dog. Set the foot down. Find your great big your great big downward dog. Lift the hips a little higher. Almost shine your sitting bones up to the sky. Look to the top of the mat. Travel forward however you want to get there. Hands to shins. Inhale, push your head and chest away. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, push your head and chest away. Exhale, forward fold. One more time, head and chest away. Pause. And return to your plank pose. Big deep breath. Big sigh out. 3 Pilates push-ups if we so choose. No hurry, no rush. If we want to skip it, that's absolutely fine. Return to your downward dog. One more time. Lift your right foot up to the sky, heel up, toes down. Like we did a moment ago, I want you to pull your knee to same elbow, pause. Step it right here, right by your hand. Now this is a little bit different, but from here I want us to hop our back foot forward to the opposite side. So we're coming into our Malasana, our yogi squat. You're going to take a big inhale, and as you exhale, you're going to bend your knee and hop your other foot to the outside edge of your hand, and we'll drop down. Now, if we do not have this totally in our range of motion, this is another spot where we can find that kind of movement in our own body, or we can really set our hips down and start to lift our hands and chest up. If you need to adjust where your feet are, maybe they need to be pointed more in a parallel fashion, that's okay. If you've got short arms, it's sometimes hard to press your elbows into your sides, but that's all right. If they're kind of away, that's fine. No hurry, no rush, big inhale. Exhale, set the hands on the ground, press into the ground, lift the hips up, find parallel legs wherever they were before. Let your head be heavy and really dump your chest, your head forward. Think of lifting the sitting bones up a little higher. Maybe sway the hips a wee bit side to side. Go ahead and heel toe the feet so they are in line with your hips. Bend the knees, roll it on up. Inhale, both hands lift high. Exhale, step back to your plank. Again, pause right here. Shoulders broad, tummy in. Inhale, bend, exhale, push. Inhale, bend, exhale, push. Last one, bend, exhale, push. Find your dog. You can always skip any little part of class you want to. Do not feel like you have to do everything. You will still get a wonderful practice, no matter how much, how little you do. As you feel ready, left foot lifts high. Take a breath. Pull your knee to same elbow. Step it on the outside edge of your foot. You know it's coming. Malasana to our second time. And again, we're going to take a big hop forward. So I'm going to bend my back knee, big inhale, exhale, hop forward, and maybe sink the hips down. Now the second set, how do you feel? Maybe we need to adjust, bring our hands down in front of us. Maybe we can take our prayer, or you can kind of get to go to any one spot that feels good for you. Now the more we can think about lifting out of our waist, broadening across our chest. I like to press my hands together to lift up. And again, as you can see, my elbows are just a little bit too short. I can press them there, but I kind of feel like I hunch forward. So for me, it's more about pressing my hands together and lifting out of the waist. Big, deep, full inhale. Hands to ground, lift up. Now this time, and I am going to turn off to the side again so you can see me a little bit better, but we're going to heel toe our feet a little bit wider, not a super duper wide spot, but definitely wider than where our Malasana was or where our hips are. Let your head hang again. Think about shifting your sitting bones up to the sky, trying to almost elongate the small of your back. And if we want to, head is nice and heavy. Reach your hands through your legs if you have that range of motion. If you do not, that's okay. Take a few big breaths. With each exhale, imagine your head is a little weight and it's just pulling you a little bit closer to the ground. Now bring your hands back in front of your face. We're going to heel toe our feet a little bit wider. And I want you to really turn the legs out, crawl your hands towards the right side, and deeply bend your right leg. You might flex your foot, you might not. In our nice little side lunge or Scandasana, whatever you want to call it, I like to push my fingertips into the ground, lift my head and chest, and really open up my shoulders. Again, like we did in our Malasana, we can bring our hands to our prayer. Sometimes it feels good to me to set my hand away from my body and lift up to the sky. No hurry. If this is too much, you can always relax. It's okay. When you feel ready, hands back down. We're going to push deeply into our right foot. Big inhale, exhale, push all the way up. All 10 toes point forward. Let your head and chest spill to the ground. Maybe you've got even more range of motion now and you can really let the head fall towards the earth. And then as you feel ready, lift up, turn the toes out. Walk the hand towards your left and sink the hips down into our Scandasana on our other side. Now again, your foot does not have to be flexed and lifted like mine is. That's just what feels most natural and good in my hips. If you want to set the foot down, that's fine. I don't feel like I balance as well that way. But again, we can bring our hands to our heart if we want to. We can take our left hand away and reach our right hand up to the sky. And then as you feel ready, both hands down, use all the strength in your left side to push yourself back up. All 10 toes point forward and drop down. Sometimes it feels oh so good just to lightly rock into my toes and then back into my heels here. Bend the knees a little deeper, maybe sway the hips gently side to side. Go ahead and heel toe the feet back underneath the hips. Easy forward fold. And then bend the knees so much we come down to a seat. And if we kind of plop down, that's okay. Take your hands underneath your thighs, sit tall, sit straight. Find that lovely broad chest, big breath. Tip your pelvis back. Roll yourself down, maybe hands out and away. Lower onto the mat, take your feet in line with your sitting bones, hand lightly away from the mat. Inhale, lift up, find your bridge pose. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, lift up, find your bridge pose. Exhale, roll down. Last one, lift up, bridge pose, pause, little squeeze of the thought, a reach of your knees nice and far away, pointing the nose straight up to the sky. Take one more big breath. Lower all the way down. Now we did a lot of work turned out, so it can feel good to find the inverse of that. So I like to heel toe my feet away from each other, knock my knees together, hands wherever feels best, and then take an easy windshield wiper of your knees side to side. Now eventually, heel toe the feet back towards one another, reach the feet far away, and begin to find your Savasana wherever it might be today. One hand on chest, one hand on heart, hands away from the body. No perfect pose. Take an inhale on 1, let go on 2, breath in on 3, release on 4. In your own mind, continue to count up to 10, letting the rest of the world melt away. Bringing a feeling of pride into your body. Being so proud of everything your body accomplished for you today. Let that feeling of pride spread through your body. Maybe let it bring a small smile on your face. Feel free to stay here as long as you like. But when you feel ready to move on with your day, find whatever gentle movement is calling to you. Roll to one side, push yourself up to a seat. As always, give yourself a pat on the back. Thank yourself for doing something so good and just for you. I certainly hope you enjoyed class today, and I cannot wait to see you again.